The toddler was sitting at the kitchen counter with blood on her onesie, happily swinging her feet as she spooned cereal into her mouth. Detective Carmen Doyle stepped around the pool of blood in the hallway and braced herself for the living room. 2 adult bodies, male and female, were slumped on the couch. Shot in the head. No sign of struggle. No forced entry. The nanny, Rebecca Lang, stood near the window holding the little girl's backpack. Calm. Too calm. I found them like that, she said. I grabbed Sophie and called 911. You were upstairs? She nodded. Sophie had a nightmare. I was getting her back to sleep. The toddler, Sophie Barrett, was 3 years old. Her parents, Michael and Lauren, were well-off professionals in an upscale part of Connecticut. Big house. Security system. Gated driveway. All of it intact. No broken locks. No glass. No signs of anyone else entering the home. Carmen looked at Rebecca's face. No tears. No tremble. Not even a twitch in her jaw. How long have you worked for the Barretts? 2 years, Rebecca said. Since Sophie was a baby. I live here. I raised her. You weren't hurt? No. I took the back stairs and hid with Sophie until I was sure the man was gone. What man? I didn't see his face. Hoodie. Gloves. He ran before I could get a good look. But when forensics came back, everything Rebecca said started to crumble. The murder weapon? Michael's own handgun, kept in a fingerprint-locked bedside safe. Only 2 people had access. Michael and Rebecca. Her prints were on the grip. Not Lauren's. Not even Michael's. The home's alarm system had been disabled before midnight. By someone who knew the code. Carmen reviewed the Barrett's home surveillance system. The main camera feed had been erased between 10:18 p.m. and 1:12 a.m., a perfect blackout window. The tech report confirmed, the only logging used to access the camera system was Rebecca's. Carmen's gut was screaming. This wasn't a break-in. This was a clean execution. Neighbors all said the same thing. Rebecca was part of the family. Always had Sophie on her hip. Took her to daycare, ballet, birthday parties. Honestly, one neighbor said, Sophie listened to her more than her own mother. There were rumors. Lauren had started pulling back, talking about letting Rebecca go. That maybe she was becoming too attached. Too late. Carmen got the real break 2 days later. She pulled Rebecca's name from the court database. Rebecca Lang had filed a name change to Rebecca Monroe 2 days before the murders. Even more alarming, Carmen tracked down a digital file saved under Rebecca's cloud account. A forged birth certificate. It named Rebecca Monroe as Sophie's biological mother. The file was dated 72 hours before Lauren and Michael were found dead. Carmen looked at the document. It wasn't just fantasy. It was preparation. This wasn't rage. This was premeditated. When Carmen returned to the Barrett home, Rebecca and Sophie were gone. Vanished. Child Protective Services had released Sophie into Rebecca's custody, pending further investigation, since she'd been the emergency contact on all legal forms. Now both were missing. Carmen scanned traffic cams, airport logs, toll data. Rebecca's car had been picked up crossing into New York at 3:42 a.m. 12 hours after the murders. The last ping from her phone came from a prepaid motel outside Albany. Carmen got there just after sunset. Inside the room, the beds were stripped. Diaper bag gone. Crib empty. Window open. But Rebecca had left something behind. On the mirror, written in lipstick. She's mine now. Carmen Doyle didn't sleep. Not after reading. She's mine now. Scrawled across the motel mirror. Rebecca had taken Sophie and vanished. She'd already killed once. There was no guarantee she wouldn't kill again. The state issued an Amber Alert by sunrise. Carmen drove straight to the FBI field office. She laid everything out, the forged birth certificate, the name change, the Barrett's murder timeline, the hacked surveillance footage. She's not just on the run, Carmen said. She's creating a new identity with that child. We have less than 24 hours before she disappears for good. Rebecca had planned every detail. She used cash for gas, left her phone behind, and switched license plates on the rental car. But she hadn't counted on one thing: the baby monitor. The night she fled the Barrett home, she'd taken Sophie's smart baby monitor, a Wi-Fi-enabled device Carmen traced to a secondary app account Rebecca forgot to delete. Within hours, they tracked the signal. Location: a cabin near a remote lake in Vermont. Carmen suited up with local tactical officers. The drone surveillance showed a woman matching Rebecca's build moving between the cabin and a parked SUV. No one else was visible, except a small child occasionally passing the window. It was them. They moved in just after 5 a.m. inside. Rebecca was holding Sophie in her lap, softly brushing the girl's hair. She heard the knock. Then the bullhorn. "This is law enforcement. Step outside. Hands visible. Do not run." She didn't listen. Rebecca grabbed Sophie, shoved her into the SUV, and floored it. The tires kicked up gravel as she barreled down the forest road. Carmen jumped into the passenger seat of the lead cruiser. "Do not shoot unless she threatens the child." They chased her across a single-lane road lined with trees, the SUV swerving, nearly clipping a pine. The baby's cry could be heard through the open back window. "Rebecca, stop the car!" Carmen shouted through a loudspeaker. "You won't make it. This ends now." Rebecca didn't stop. But she didn't see the fallen log ahead. The SUV slammed into it at full speed. The front end crumpled. Airbags burst. Carmen was the first out. Gun drawn. She flung open the driver's side door. Rebecca's nose was bleeding, her eyes wild with rage. "You don't get to take her!" Rebecca screamed, clawing at the seat. "She's not yours!" Carmen yanked her out by the wrist, just as backup officers grabbed her from behind. Sophie was in the back seat, crying, shaken, but unharmed. Carmen unbuckled her and gently lifted her out. "It's okay," she whispered. "You're safe now." Rebecca was still screaming as she was dragged into cuffs. "You ruined everything! She loved me! I was her mother! They didn't deserve her!" But no one listened. Her delusion had shattered. 3 months later, in court, Rebecca sat motionless as prosecutors laid out the timeline. Rebecca Lang, real name Rebecca Keller, had moved through 5 different families in 7 years. In every case, she developed obsessive bonds with the children. In one state, she was investigated for coercing a 4-year-old into calling her Mom. In another, a child's real mother filed a restraining order after Rebecca attempted to enroll the child in a school under her own name. She'd gone undetected, until the Barretts. When Lauren decided to fire her, Rebecca had snapped. She used Michael's gun, erased the footage, packed for escape, filed legal documents, and planned to start a new life as Sophie's mother. But her plan fell apart. The jury took 3 hours to deliberate. Guilty on all counts, 2 counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, forgery, child endangerment. Sentence: life in prison without parole. Carmen visited Sophie one last time, now safe with her aunt. Sophie didn't remember much. Just that she'd been scared, and the lady with the badge had carried her away. "You're going to be okay," Carmen said softly, brushing a lock of hair from the child's forehead. Sophie looked up and whispered, "Is she gone?" Carmen nodded. "She can't hurt you anymore."